Hi guys, Woody here, and today I want to talk about the overall balancing that I expect to see for the next patch. So Blizzard has stated that they want to do like a big balancing update in the future, which is probably going to be in Season 22, not Season 21. So after they have introduced all the new sets, and for now it's just going to be like the new meta with the new sets and so on. But yeah, we have seen that especially Witchdoctors and Crusaders are extremely strong, and I would expect to see some nerfs there. So those sets come out in Season 19 and Season 20. They already nerfed the Crusader a little bit with the animation cancelling, but it's quite clear this is not enough. Even when the season bonus is taken out of the equation, Crusader is extremely strong and probably the strongest solo class, and it's quite close between the Witchdoctors and the Crusaders. So if you look at the non-season leaderboards right now, it looks like this. We have a couple of Crusaders sitting at 150 already. We have even more Witchdoctors sitting at 150 already, and it's quite clear that those two classes are above the rest. So I would expect that both of them will get nerfed in Season 21, and this will also make more room for new builds from the Necromancer and the Demon Hunter that will get a new set. So they don't have to make them overly ridiculous to perform at like the top level. And because they would just have to nerf those again as well. So I would actually think that both classes will get nerfed to bring it more in line. And you can see that the difference is quite big. So the next class in solo is Barbarians. I think Roman Barbarian is overall fine. The solo clears on non-season are a little bit inflated because they run a Captain Crimson setup without Band of Might, so they take a little bit more DPS, and yeah, they can survive it anyway. And this is something that is unrealistic on season. So this is on season. This is like a build that is like 2 or 3 tiers weaker. Just right now in Season 20, Earl and Barbarian gets actually quite a lot from the season bonus, but after that also falls out. Then Warren Barbs will somewhere cap out on like a 140-ish or so, and I think that's pretty good. So if they're aiming for something like 140, 142 or so for all the classes, for like 5k plus paragons, I think that would be great. And this means that yeah, that we have to reduce Crusader, maybe just cut the damage in half. I think the best way to do this, for example for Crusader, would be nerfing the Shield of Fury. So right now it stacks up to 20 times, and reducing that to 10 times would almost cut the damage in half, not quite, but it would be like a 4-tier nerf for the high tiers, and it wouldn't really affect like the speed farming very much. So when you're just blasting through GRs 100, 110 or something, you still have to do the stacking mechanic, but reach the maximum more easily. And I think like the overall power gap between the pushing build and the farming build would decrease a little bit, and I think this would be good. For the Witchdoctor, it's a little bit more complicated. They could also just nerf the damage from the set bonus, but I think what this season has really shown is that a solo Witchdoctor is terrible because of the Rift Guardians. You take like 5 or 6 minutes for the Rift Guardian on a pushing tier. This is really extreme. This is like the longest Rift Guardian fights that you have in the game, I think, out of all builds right now. And the best way to do this is to focus on the pet aspect of the Phantasms. So the way that the Phantasms work is they scale with most of the pet multipliers. So that Pain Enhancer works as like the attack speed from Pain Enhancer works as a damage multiplier. You have the Enforcer gem. You have the Mask of Jaram, which is a really big one. And all of this makes Witchdoctor incredibly good in Foreman, because there's like so many ways of scaling it, especially Pain Enhancer. And yeah, it also makes it so that you require density a lot, and you really scale insanely potentially. It's already quite big density scaling just from the skill itself, because you accumulate damage with the Barber. So the more targets they have, the more damage the explosion deals to more targets that are in the pool. So it's like an exponential scaling with density, a lot more than the typical area damage builds. And on top of that, you have Pain Enhancer. So I think removing all of that would be the best choice here. And then they could actually buff the set a little bit to like, I don't know, maybe double or something, or maybe like plus 50% or something at least. So the big advantage here is that more damage will be shifted from just the Phantasms to the Manitou. So it would force everyone to run Manitou in solo instead of just the Phantasms and Spirit is Willing, for example. but I think this is probably the best way to do it, to reduce how annoying the build is in solo, to actually give it a little bit of like more single target viability through a really stronger Manitou. Because, you know, if you nerf the Phantasms and buff the set, Manitou will be stronger, but Phantasms will be slightly weaker, so it like translates into more single target damage. I think this will be the best way of doing that. So I really hope that Blizzard considers this, and this will make Witchdoctor a lot more interesting in solo, I think, because just, you know, making 5 or 6 minutes for the Rift Guardian is not fun. You need insane rifts, you need insane density, just because of how everything works in the build, and just shifting it a little bit would really help there. Other than that, I would expect some buffs for the Wizard, both for the Hydra and the Weirs. So I think this is necessary, especially for the Hydra, because Hydra stat sucks. Hydra in general is, yeah, it's like one of the good Wizard builds, but it's really underperforming compared to other classes. So they really have to do something on the Wizard, because right now it's completely useless. It sucks in T16, it sucks in solo, no one is playing it in group, so Wizard is like dead, and it's not gonna help when, you know, 2 other classes get new sets as well. So really something has to be done here. So just, you know, buffing Hydra and maybe reduce the dependency on channeling items would help a lot, but we'll see about that. But this might be something for the future. Other than that, Barbarians also have the Frenzy, which is the new build from Season 20. Right now in solo, without Season Theme and so on, I'd say this is probably like 3 tiers behind Whirlwind or so. So I think buffing Frenzy by maybe 50% is probably a good move. So I'd expect something like that to bring it up on par, or close at least, in solo, because it's also not really a top tier Rift Guardian killer. Crusader is much stronger, and even if you consider like let's say a 30, 40, 50% nerf for Crusader, Frenzy is most likely still weaker. And to bring it, you know, closer together, so you have some options for the Rift Guardian killer slot, it would be great to see some Frenzy buffs, let's say. Demon Hunter, I'm not really too worried, but I also discussed this already in detail, so we're gonna get a very strong new set, almost guaranteed. So we'll see what it will be, how strong it will be, but I assume it's gonna be pretty insane. Same for the Necromancers. So we'll have to wait until after Season 21 for those. But of course, there's a lot of work to be done, because, you know, once everything kind of like evens out and we have, you know, like 1 or 2 top performing builds for each class, then there's the time to bring everything up on par for, you know, all the other builds. You know, like each class is like, I don't know, 10, 15 different builds, and there's a lot of balancing to be done, a lot of opportunity to create playstyles that people can choose without feeling bad and without you know, feeling like they just gimp themselves, and actually creating like a diversity in the competition, so that, you know, when you have Demon Hunter and there's like this one dude at rank 1 pushing Marauders, cluster bombs, and then there's rank 2 with Rain of Vengeance, and there's rank 3 with Rapid Fire, and rank 4 with Impale, you know, this is what we need. And then, you know, there's just so many possibilities to play characters in this game, but most of them are just so unviable. And yeah, we'll see what happens. The 2 classes that are overall in a good spot are the Monk and the Barbarian, at least for solo. And Barbarian is also relatively good for speed farm meta with the Whirlwind. So we had that in Season 19 before everyone started farming 150s with Wizard. But Wizard is dead now, and with potential nerfs to Witchdoctor and so on, and without the red runs in Season 21, because the Season theme will be gone, yeah, we're most likely gonna go back to Whirlwind. Unless we get some really insanely strong new set from Demon Hunter or Necro. So that might happen, that might be like the new XP meta. So it would be great to also have, you know, some choices here for the speed farm meta on, like, you know, tier 110 or something, where you farm most of your runs, your gems, your XP, and then you have like the high tier meta where you might also have, you know, like 1 or 2 choices. So we have the Witchdoctor right now as being like a strong class, and then adding another one that is like close in power level would be pretty awesome, or adding 2 and so on. And I think that's probably the goal for Season 21. So I don't think they want to just make the new sets completely OP, completely ridiculous like they did with Witchdoctor. So they can't just make them as strong as well, because that would be ridiculous. And we have to expect a few nerfs and a little bit overall level, a lower power level. We'll also see what the season theme is gonna be. It could be anything that also like buffs us or buffs just certain builds again. So maybe it really benefits the new sets, and they're gonna make the sets a little bit weaker, but you know, they're gonna be buffed by the season theme in some way that doesn't benefit other builds as much. We'll see, but this is kind of the overall expectation, and also like, yeah, what I think should happen for now before we do like the big balancing update where, you know, they have to balance out like, you know, 10 different builds on every class. And yeah, that's gonna be a big one, but I'm also happy to give feedback on that, of course. So I think with something like this, we can see a great season 21 with maybe some diversity in the meta, with you know, speed firing metas, with solo being more equal, and you know, not many classes really feeling left behind. Right now, it's really a problem. You know, when you join a poly game as a Demon Hunter, I hear from people they get told to just leave because Demon Hunter is that bad right now. So of course it has to change. This is not really healthy for the game and for the community. And yeah, like if this stays as it is right now, it's gonna be problematic, especially when you consider that there's probably not going to be a lot more content for the future of D3. D4 is on the horizon, and after season 21, I don't think we're going to get much more besides like the big balancing update. So this is kind of the expectation. But before we put the other 3 in hibernation, we really need this variety, because there's going to be, you know, another 5 or 6 or 7 seasons or so before D4 comes out. So we need, you know, a little bit that you know, keeps people coming back. We need the diversity. We need you know, just people that come back to the game and they're like, oh, this time I want to play Uliana, and the other time I want to play Tempest Rush, and then I want to play Inna, and you know, it all needs to be, you know, some kind of like, it shouldn't be a downgrade trying to play another build. That's what I mean. You know, if everything is like within 2 or 3 tiers, if you have, you know, like 4 or 5 trash clear options, or maybe even every class as a potential AoE build, or included in the Foreman meta, and then you have like, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 different Rift Guarding killers, you know, this would be amazing. And I think this is also what we are probably going towards. So I hope you enjoyed my thoughts here. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time.